If we are testing our get-home bags, our bug-out bags, our 72-hour kits, our bail-out bags, our itch bags, we as a community need to stop building fires. Guys, T2 Titan Preparedness, welcome to the channel or welcome back. Today's video is going to be a little controversial. It's going to be a little problematic, a little dogmatic. I want it to make you think. I don't want to tell you what to think, but instead I want to get your brain in motion. Today's video is on the topic of building fires while testing your gear, while testing your bags specifically. So I'm going to start this video off with a question. But before I get there, I want you to watch the video entirely. And at the end of the video, tell me if I'm making sense, if I'm making my point come across straight, or if I'm making crap up, if I'm talking out of my butt. At the end of the video, let me know, because hopefully you'll understand where I'm coming from by the time this video ends. The question we want to start off with. If I wanted to see how fast I could run 1 mile around a track, how do you think I would show up? Would I show up with running shoes? Or would I show up with rollerblades? Would I show up with a skateboard or a bicycle? If I wanted to see how fast I could run around a track, hopefully I would show up in running shoes, ready to run. However, if I used a bicycle to see how fast I could run around this track, I would be the fastest man alive. I might be able to run 1 mile in, let's say, 8 minutes. But I could bike that same mile in 4 minutes. Well, now you can call me Usain Bolt because I'm the fastest man alive, because I did 1 mile around a track in 4 minutes. Now you might say, now wait a minute. You used outside assistance to get that time down from 8 minutes to 4 minutes. You used a bicycle instead of your feet, instead of your tennis shoes. You also weren't testing what you said you were testing. You said you were seeing how fast you could run, but yet you used a bicycle. Now how does this have to do with bail-out bags, bug-out bags, get-home bags? When we go out and we test our bags, we need to stop building fires. Now, I'm going to say it again here in a minute, but I know someone in the comment section is going, are you saying don't bring a fire kit? No, that's not what I'm saying. Are you saying that we shouldn't know how to build a fire? No, that's not what I said. If we are testing our get-home bags, our bug-out bags, our 72-hour kits, our bail-out bags, our itch bags, we as a community need to stop building fires. You see, there are a few test videos here online. A lot come from this channel, but the ones that don't play out the same way. Some guy picks up his bag and he walks out into his backyard, he sets up his tent, he sets up his shelter, and then the very next thing he does is he walks around, looks for firewood, builds a massive fire, cooks his food over the fire, boils his water over the fire, has light, does whatever he wants to do, and he sleeps near that fire. That fire keeps him warm. At the end of the day, or at the very next morning, he wraps everything up and he says, yep, my bag's good to go. I survived the night. But did you actually test your bag, or did you test your fire-making capabilities? Your bag is a pre-planned kit. It is a bag designed to keep you alive and keep you safe for that amount of time. Whether you're walking home, you're walking to a new location, your I'm never coming home bag, whatever you want to call it, right? And a lot of times in these videos of these builds, people will tell you, oh man, you don't want to build a fire because a fire gives off your location. So if you are in a get-home style situation, a fire would alert everyone around you, here I am, come take my stuff. Maybe there's marauders after you, there's looters after you, maybe you robbed a bank and you're running off into the woods. You don't want to build a fire. So when these people finally go out and they test their bags, granted they go to the backyard, but the first thing they do is they build a fire. And they use that fire to keep warm, to stay alive, to boil their water, to cook their meals. You know, that's not actually testing your bag. You are making sure that you can build a fire. Congratulations, you built one. Now put it out. You're not testing your bag. You are testing your fire-making capabilities. If you need a fire to maintain your living status, if you need a fire to sanitize your water, if you need a fire to cook your meals, if you need a fire to keep you warm and keep you alive, you are not prepared. Now, why do I say this? Murphy Law dictates that if something can go bad, it can get worse. There are times and situations where you are not going to be able to build a fire. But yet, people are out here testing their bags as if we will always be able to build a fire. So you take your bare minimalist loadout, you got your Mylar blanket, you got a knife, you say, I'm good to go, I will survive as long as I can build a fire. Well, it's been raining for 5 days. Hurricanes done came through and soaked everything to the bone. You're not going to be able to build a fire with everything being completely soaked. You can try, but good luck. Or maybe your car runs off the road. So yes, you can either abandon your vehicle and run off to the woods where you possibly might be able to build a fire, but there's 6 foot of snow on the ground. You have to trump through all that snow to get to the tree line that's 1,000 yards away and hope and pray that something is dry enough to burn, but you're also stuck out in the elements where it's negative 20 degrees and it's a 30-mile-an-hour wind. I've been there. You don't want to go outside. So instead you stay in your vehicle, where yes, you can't build a fire inside the vehicle, but it's protected from the elements. Is your bag ready to stay the night in that type of temperature? Not if you've got minimalist shit in there. You see, if your bag is set up to be self-contained, if your bag is set up to survive without that fire, you got nothing to worry about. My bug out bag over here. In wintertime, I put a 0-degree sleeping bag in my bag. A lot of people, man, that's overkill. You don't need to carry a sleeping bag, especially not a 0-degree sleeping bag. A Mylar blanket will suit you just well. Have you ever tested that theory? Because I have. And sure, you might survive the night, as long as you build a fire. You might survive the night, but if you've already walked 10 miles, 15 miles, you will not have the energy to walk another 10, 15, 20 miles. Trust me, I've been there. I've actually tested that theory, and that's why I carry things in my bag that most people don't see. Even in my get home bag, I carry a sleeping bag. And a lot of preppers, a lot of prepping channels that have never tested their bags will tell you, oh man, you don't need a sleeping bag. No, that's overkill. You don't need that. You see, carry your shelter with you is something that I believe in. A turtle carries his shelter on his back. Me, I carry my shelter in my bag. I have a tarp, I have a hammock, I have a sleeping bag. And sure, it adds extra weight, but even without a fire, I can be dry up under the tarp. I can be off the ground if I'm in a safe enough location where I can hang a hammock. I can be warm in my sleeping bag even without a fire. I carry some MREs in my bag. That way I can eat without needing a fire. If you're worried about the water in your location, you might carry bleach or water purification tablets to ensure that your water is purified without the need for a fire. The same people that tell you that you don't need a fire will build a massive, raging, roaring fire in the middle of the woods every time they go out. And they will use that fire to keep them warm, to keep them alive, to boil their water, to sanitize their water, to eat their food, to cook their food. That tells me that they're unprepared. It doesn't matter how much cool shit they have in their bag. It doesn't matter how many pieces of fire kit that they have in their bag or how many axes or saws. It tells me that they are unprepared. If you are not ready to spend the night or to spend multiple days without a fire to keep you warm, to keep you alive, to sanitize your water, to cook your meals, you are unprepared. Period. Don't believe me? Go prove it. Myself and David, we tested our bags late last winter. It was freaking cold. And in that situation, we were saying the exact same thing that everyone else was. A fire is dangerous. A fire is going to give off your location. Don't build a fire. So we ran with that idea. And if it wasn't for the coyotes, it would have made for a miserable night of sleeping on the ground. It told us that our shelter systems that we prepared were not adequate enough. We didn't need to test our fire making capabilities. We knew we could build a fire. What we were testing though was our shelter systems, was our bags. You see, just like in the example I gave earlier, had we spent the night with a fire, man, we would have stayed nice and toasty and warm, and we would have wrapped up near that fire in our mylar blankets, and man, it would have been a great night. But it would have been a false promise. It would have been a lie. Much like riding that bicycle around the track and being the fastest human alive, it would have been a lie. Because what happens next time we go out and there's no firewood? What happens next time we go out and it's been raining, or it is currently raining? Sure, we could try to build a fire, but maybe there's marauders on top of us. Maybe there's looters on top of us. Maybe we don't want to give off our location. And then we use our shelter systems that we said worked, even though we had to use a fire to make sure we stayed alive, and they fail us, much like they did that night. You see, here on this channel, when we go out, we test bug out bags, get home bags. 90% of the time, we don't build fires. The only time we really do is if we're bored. But that is only after we proved if our gear works. That is only after we've proven if the supplies that we carry on our backs are adequate enough. We'll build a fire in the summertime, but that fire is not keeping us warm. Actually, in the summertime, you don't even want to be near the fire. It's just nice for aesthetics. But yet, in the wintertime, we go out, we test the gear. We make sure that it's adequate. Not adequate with the assistance of a raging, roaring fire in the middle of nowhere, but adequate without it. Because your get-home bag that stays in your car can also double as a vehicle survival kit. That bug-out bag that you plan on using to walk 50 miles or whatever the case is, if it's only adequate with a fire, that means it's inadequate. You are actually unprepared. You are carrying around a 50 to 100 pound pack for absolutely no reason. You got 100 pounds worth of gear in there, but it's not able to keep you alive for a couple days without a fire? Tells me you need to back up and rethink. Tells me that you're unprepared. You spent too much time believing people here on the internet and what they say instead of testing your own theories. I've been in cold situations before. I know what it takes to survive those cold situations. A mylar blanket and a fire? Cool. That might keep you alive, but if you're in those cold situations, everyone and their brother is going to see that fire. If you're in those bad situations, everyone and their brother is going to see that fire. Now, make sure you have the ways to make a fire. Make sure you can make a fire. Because maybe it's not a looter situation. Maybe you get lost in the woods. Make sure you can build a fire. Carry a fire kit. But if you're testing the bug out bag, the get home bag, the 72-hour kit, the bail out bag, the inch bag, don't build a fire. Alright guys, let me know if you understand where I'm coming from. Let me know if I've made a decent enough point. When you go out to test your bug out bags, your get home bags next time, are you going to be testing your fire making capabilities? Or are you going to be testing the supplies that you actually carry? Let me know down in the comments section. That's all I got, y'all. T2 out.